Well, hey there, folks. I'm Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington with your News 3 Now. First morning weather update on an impactful weather system that's just hours away from southern Wisconsin that we were first to put out snow totals a little bit earlier this week. We're looking at 3 to 7 inches of snow across all of southern Wisconsin with a targeted area that I want to spend more time on. I want to be able to get your questions as well on just where that band is going to set up across portions of southern Wisconsin. But before we do that, I'm going to take another couple moments here to let people get dialed in. Grab your dinner. I've got some water here. This is just a chill time for us to have a conversation about our alert day tomorrow. Any questions that you might have related to our alert day. I also will talk to another alert day on channel3000.com a little bit later. We have additional alert days, but I want to focus on our alert day for Friday morning's commute. Taking a couple of moments here again for folks to get dialed in. Just want to make sure that our live feed is also going on here on channel3000.com. Their channel3000.com Facebook. There we go. I see we're live. And this allows me to see any questions that are coming in here. So if you have questions now, you're absolutely welcome to ask them in that live feed here. I'll be able to see them. And there we go. I figured this one was going to be coming. Do I think that what's the over and under on school cancellations? Thank you so much for asking that question. I have a whole family of teachers. I grew up in the River Valley area. I was asked this question today. Do I think there will be cancellations tomorrow? I think is your question. My answer is yes to that. I think the best chances for those cancellations are very likely going to be the Wisconsin River Valley, areas over along I-94 and south towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border. I don't want to say our friends up towards Wisconsin Dells and Camp Douglas won't have some cancellations and delays, but I think the heavier snow is really going to set up from the Wisconsin River Valley area over towards Madison, I-94 and south, and that's where those cancellation impacts are probably going to be more likely. So thank you for that question. Please keep these coming on in. I'm going to hit a refresh on here. These first 10, 15 minutes or so, we will be doing our live feed on Facebook, so I'm actually able again to see the questions that you have coming in here. And then we're going to turn things over to Channel 3000 where you can continue or I will continue my presentation here rather with those questions. So again, keep those questions coming here. I see those popping in real time. All right, so while folks are getting dialed in, let's do a recap here of what's going on with our alert day conditions for your late Thursday night, overnight going on into your Friday. Winter weather advisory in effect from 1 a.m. till 1 p.m. on your Friday here, folks. That's for Madison and points off towards the north and west. Our friends down towards Janesville will hang on to that alert day condition set through 4 o'clock. You'll see why here when I show our weather models. I see people dialing in. Please ask me questions along the way. We've done these live Facebook feeds before, and this is just a nice way for us to have that, like I said, chill conversation between me and you. Any question's a good question. If you got a question, chances are somebody else probably has the question too. So what are we up against here as we do an overview of the situation? Widespread amounts of 3 to 7 inches of snow stretching from our friends out towards the Mississippi River, towards Madison, and points to the east towards Milwaukee. We were first to put snowfall totals out here a couple of days ago, actually, because we want to be first to let you know this is what we're thinking. There's probabilities and chances of snow, and that's okay. But the First Run Weather team, we're not afraid to go out there and start giving you that information as we start getting this information and relay it to you. A plug to our next alert day that's coming up Sunday, Monday, going on perhaps into Tuesday. We started seeing indications with that weather system on Friday the 15th and started notifying folks of that potential. But more on the more imminent weather events here, and that's for Friday morning. I have been discussing on our show, so has Jacob and Kelly and Buddy and Brian, that there's going to be a very narrow band where we could be looking at 6, 7 plus inches of snow in a very confined spot across southern Wisconsin. So hang on. I'm going to get into those complexities here in just a moment. First, Doppler track. What's going on out there right now? Here in Madison, Dane County, see some blues out towards Mount Horeb, down towards Belleville, up to the north as you head up towards Columbia County. A lot of this is not hitting the ground, and I was saying in our earlier shows, it's dry out there. The relative humidity is very low, so as those snowflakes fall through the atmosphere into that dry air, they fizzle out, but they will not fizzle out for long. I can guarantee you that. Widening on out, looking off towards the north and towards the west, this is where our weather system is gearing up over the state of Minnesota and over portions of Iowa. I want to call out a couple of things here too as well. We have a feed of moisture that's coming in from the south and from the west. That's feeding this weather system as it gears up across the area. Where we're having snow likely on the ground is up towards our friends, up towards Minneapolis, up along I-94, probably having snow hitting the ground just east of I-90 and south and east of Rochester, and that stuff is going to be moving towards the south and towards the east. So when will the snow start? Well, let's get right at it here. As we head towards southern Wisconsin, as we head towards 10, 11 o'clock, to answer your question, that's when we expect that snow, maybe mixing it with a little bit, but it's really going to be more of a snow event. I'm not expecting this to be a mixed event of freezing rain or sleet or anything like that. Mostly in the form of snow. As we head towards 12 o'clock, it becomes quite widespread. Then as we get into the wee hours of the morning, the weather system will really start to unfold to answer that question. Another good one here. Actually, two really good questions here. Every question's a good question, and as I always say, if you've got it, somebody else probably has the same question. When is it going to be heavy? And then I have another one. Could a winter storm warning be issued? I'm going to answer both of those here. Let's use our friend, the Future Track model, to move forward here in time to talk about the heavy snow first, and then we'll get to that winter storm warning question. Keep the questions coming in here, folks. We'll try to get to all of them here between now and probably another 5 to 10 minutes, and then we turn things over to channel3000.com. So if you're on Facebook watching, join channel3000.com when I give you the go to come over to channel3000.com. Once we march forward here towards 4, 5, 6 o'clock, notice that snow getting a little bit heavier out towards Prairie du Chien, towards Platteville. We will have snow from Juneau and Adams counties south all the way to the Wisconsin-Illinois border. But it's really as we get towards 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, we really see this ramp up in the intensities over Grant County, Iowa County, Lafayette County, Green Rock, Dane, Dells, maybe a little bit lighter up there, and then much less to the north towards Camp Douglas. As we've been saying, this storm is inching its way a little bit further to the south. It's a much more narrow track, and that makes it tough, of course, to forecast for. But those heavy snowfall rates, inch per hour, could be occurring over southwest Wisconsin up to Madison by the time we get to 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. To answer that question about the heavy snow, it continues from Madison, then it starts to push towards Monroe and Janesville, the heavier snow as we head towards 10 o'clock in the morning. Look out towards Richland Center, Wisconsin Dells. It's cutting off, it's done, which is not uncommon with these types of snow events, which I'll explain here in a bit about the complexity. This is a convective snow event. Like, what's convective? What's convection? Well, think of a rain shower, a heavy downpour, or even a thunderstorm in the summertime. That's convection. And these type of events typically start quickly. They're very, very heavy for a period of time, and then they shut off. You actually get falling air behind the rising air. The rising air is where the heavy snow is falling, stretching from Platteville to Dodgeville up to Madison at that 10 o'clock time frame. And then it shuts off. Watch this as we head towards 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Excuse me, it's out here. My nose is itching, so somebody must be talking about me. And they must be, because we've got questions coming in. Will a winter storm warning be issued? There is conversation amongst the National Weather Service about potentially issuing a winter storm warning for a couple of counties in southern Wisconsin. So hang tight. I'm going to talk about some of the complexities and where I think that heavy band may set up over the course of your Friday morning. A few more questions here. And thanks. Double question. Will this be a warning? Right now, winter weather advisory, all of southern Wisconsin. Will this be a winter storm warning? Let me show you where that may set up as according to some of our weather models in just a moment. So hang tight. Verona schools, will they be closed? And another question here in just a moment. Earlier, we were asking about cancellations and delays. I grew up in southern Wisconsin and near Arena. We had to have 6 inches of snow back in the old days, in the 80s, before we canceled. I know things are very different in 2024. I do think there will be cancellations and delays, and the better chances for those cancellations and those delays are likely going to be along the Wisconsin River Valley over towards Madison, I-94, and points to the south. and I call out the Wisconsin River Valley and those communities that have large geographical regions, hills and all that stuff that make our amazing bus drivers have a tough go, right, of getting up and down those hills. So I do think that there will be some delays and cancellations. Of course, you can go to channel3000.com to see those latest cancellations and delays. And do you suggest staying home if possible across southern Wisconsin? I'd give we'll talk about the timing here as a recap in just a moment, but from 6 o'clock in the morning till about noon from Madison and points north and west, it's going to be a snowy go, especially for areas Wisconsin, River Valley, Madison, and points to the south. If you're tuning in towards Janesville, Monroe, the snow may hang on till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it will rapidly improve. As quick as it starts, it will end very quickly. These heavy, wet snows, especially in the springtime, tend to act that way. So another question, how might this impact air travel? We actually were talking a bit about roads and other transportation during our shows this morning. We could be looking at some delays and cancellations at the Madison airport. But good news is once we get past noon, the snow shuts off, the clearage on out at the airport, that should improve pretty quickly out there. So that's the recap of our situation. Let's just change some things up here for a second here. And let me talk about some of the complexities with this, as I think more of your questions are going to come in here. Where's this heavy band going to set up? Everyone's talking about where this heavy band's going to set up. Our friends at other stations too. We're all in this together. We all got a forecast for this uncertainty. The heaviest band looks to line up right now along I-94, and it could be a narrow band of 6-7 inches, maybe an isolated bit more. And this band is going to be really, really narrow. I'm not talking counties and counties wide. I'm not talking all of southern Wisconsin getting 7 inches of snow. I'm talking a very confined area that could be as narrow as 15, 20, 30 miles. And that is so hard for a weather model to forecast for. It's like trying to forecast for a band of thunderstorms, which weather models are just not really designed to do. But our weather models that can help us pinpoint convection or that type of activity, convection being heavy rain showers, really heavy wet snow, and there could be a clap or two of thunder with this event, likely sets up along and south near Madison and areas towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border. Let me break this down. Weather models. I don't mean to overwhelm folks. This is why we don't show a whole bunch of weather models on air, because if you're just snapping in at one point in time, you think, oh, that's it. This is why I don't like showing, here's weather model A, and it's showing 6 inches, and B is showing 4 inches, and C is showing 3 inches, because if you're just tuning in at any point in time, you might get the wrong information. But in this sort of an environment, I want to dig a little bit deeper. This is a type of weather model that is called non-hydrostatic. Well, oh my gosh, what is that, Alex? This is a weather model that can pinpoint a little bit better detail on convective type snow events, showers, thunderstorms during the summertime. It's not perfect, and as you know, you can go on that side of the street and they get heavy rain and a shower or thunderstorm, and you can go on that side of the street and they get nothing. And this is one of those type of snow events. Again, we could have a little bit of thunder and a little bit of lightning with this. Look at this, really targeting 6 a.m. Crawford, Richland, Sauk counties over to Columbia, up towards Juneau and points to the south, that really consolidated narrow band of heavy snow. It's not all of southern Wisconsin. It's really pinpointing a very targeted area. As we head towards 10 o'clock, that targeted area tries to build back up towards, let's say, Dodgeville to Madison and points to the south. And again, this type of weather model is made for that sort of really fairly good short-term model guidance over small distances. All right, and then that moves off to the south and east, as I've been saying, by 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. See if we have other questions that are coming in here. How early do you expect it to be in Madison? Shortly after midnight, to answer that question. Huge group of wrestlers coming into Madison tomorrow morning. Hope roads are okay for their travel. Take it easy, depending on where they're coming from. The heaviest snow will be between 6, 9, 10 o'clock, and then noon as well. Are my daffodils going to take a hit? It's going to be a heavy snow, but the good news is March sunlight, and I grew up in Wisconsin too, and I gardened as well. March sunlight is brighter, so we get into Saturday, we'll get some sun. I think we'll see enough of that melting, get that snow off the daffodils. What's causing the temperature shifts this year? Oh, that is a wonderful question. I may get to that one in just a moment. So hang tight on that. I'm going to finish some of the model complexities here. This is another weather model. This is an American weather model here. I know we're not going to get into politics, but this model is built to do broader, more generalized forecasts for snow. Look how much more widespread it is from central Wisconsin to southern Wisconsin. Painting, though, look at that far southern two-tier counties of southern Wisconsin still being targeted even by this broader, larger scale weather model as we head towards noon. This one holds the snow on a little bit longer, but I do think, knowing that this will be a convective event, meaning more of kind of that heavy rain shower, thunderstorm type analogy in the summertime, but in the late spring, winter, it'll be cold enough for snow. I think it's going to, as quickly as it starts, it's going to end pretty quickly. So I think this one's holding on to the snow a bit longer. Here's another one, along with some temperatures here as well, which is another piece of complexity I want to call out. And thank you. I appreciate the thank you for this. I love doing this because the questions are great. And you have questions and other people probably have questions. And we just don't have time for this on air. So this is a great forum for that. Midnight. All these weather models are showing the snow starting at midnight and becoming widespread. This weather model, again, as we head towards 6 o'clock, snow fairly widespread across all of southern Wisconsin. And this one, too, even as a broader, larger scale weather model showing that heavier area of snow. Let's paint Grant County, Iowa County, over to Dane County, over towards Jefferson, and south towards Janesville. You're getting the hint here that even the finer scale weather models that we've been showing on air, and even the broader scale weather models, are really targeting that area of the southern two-tier counties of southern Wisconsin. And then it's out of here by 4 o'clock, as I've been saying. So overall amounts, this is what I show on TV for amounts as opposed to showing differing snow amounts, because that can be confusing. Again, if you tune in and you're like, oh my gosh, 3 inches, and then you tune in again and it's a different amount, you might get the wrong information. So we do a blended approach, a broad painted approach here to try to give you an overall range of expectations. 3, 4, 5 inches will likely be common amounts across much of southern Wisconsin, let's say from the Dells down to the Wisconsin-Illinois border, maybe 2, 3, 4 inches to the north of the Dells. If you're heading down towards Illinois, I've had some friends that say, what's the travel going to be like down there? Probably 3, 4 inches as well. But where is that narrow band of that 6, 7 inch amount going to set up? Here's what we've been talking about here. So the broad painted 3 to 7 inches. I bumped it a little west there so you can see where I'm going to paint this here. The likelihood is going to be near Madison, along I-94, and points to the south towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border, as it looks like right now. We get another set of weather models coming in 9, 10 o'clock. So tune in to our show. We're actually going on late at 11. Are we at 11? Yeah. Sorry, I got friends all around me here that are trying to keep Alex in line.
Conclusion of the basketball game.
Yes, after the basketball game. We'll be on at 11, and I'll have a better sense also of the latest weather models to see if, in fact, this still holds true. But I've been watching these weather models for days and days and looking at all of those different models I was showing you. They eye up those southern two-tier counties, and that consolidation is likely going to form somewhere near Madison, I-94, and points off towards the south. So a few more questions here, and then a heads up, we're going to turn things over here after we get a trickling of questions. We're going to move from Facebook, and I want you to join me on channel3000.com in a few minutes. I'll let folks know when we make that transition to channel3000.com, because we're going to do another recap. I'm going to go into this complex analysis. We're going to talk about the next alert day, and then we're going to do a total recap as well. But some questions coming in here. How much do you think Monroe will get? Monroe, I think you're in that 3 to 7 overall band. Again, you're pretty close, though, to where that consolidated area of snow that I was showing before on one of our higher resolution models was showing the potential. I'm actually stop this here for a second to answer your question a little bit more clearly. Some of our higher resolution models that do a little bit better with pinpointing that heavy snow. I'm going to fast forward here. There, look at this here, our friends in Monroe. As we head towards 6 o'clock in the morning, you'd see those dark blues. And then as I fast forward here, in just a moment here, as I fast forward here just a bit, those dark blues then move towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border. So one more question here, and then we're going to take a brief pause because I'm going to grab something here as we move over to channel3000.com. So we'll step away for just a moment here. Spring Green area, I think you're probably looking at 3-4 inches of snow, maybe 5 as well. So one more question here. Driving from Oshkosh to Janesville around 3 o'clock. I think snow will be ending in Janesville probably 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you get there around that time, they'll be cleaning up at that point. So one more question. Ice or just snow on the roads? And then we're going to turn everything over to channel3000.com. So I got to grab a power cable here as well so we can move things over to channel3000.com in just a moment. Ice and snow, most of this will be in the form of snow. So, and then the Jefferson area, I think you're going to be very close to that, 3 to 7 inches overall, and then very likely going to be looking at that potential for that heavy band from Jefferson, 6-7 inches possibly, and point south towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border. So we're going to take a brief break here as we transition everything over to channel3000.com. I encourage you folks to come over to that medium. I'm going to do another recap, and I'm going to dig into the next set of alert days. So you're going to see some friends here. Kyle's going to help me out with pausing the camera here for a second as we transition over to channel3000.com. Thanks everyone for joining in here. I love the questions and the opportunity to interact. So Kyle, help us out with the camera here.
Sure
You're going to
can.
see this is live television. So